Late at night, when the bustle fades away, you gaze at the towering skyscrapers and cold neon lights outside the window. Do you ever fall into a trance, feeling as if you are living inside a fictional world foreseen long ago? Amid the vast realm of global animation and comics, built on talent and relentless toil, stands a reclusive genius hailed as a prophet. Never did he chase fleeting entertainment trends. Instead, he poured his heart, soul and intellect into Akira, a hardcore epic. Back in 1982, while the whole world indulged in post-war material prosperity, he accurately predicted the Tokyo Olympic Games 30 years later. With his brush, he depicted a cyberpunk future of dazzling technology alongside desolate humanity. To the public, he was a master artist revered by Hollywood. Yet behind the spotlight, he lived like a solitary ascetic trained in architecture. Tonight, beside the flickering fire, let us delve into his life. This is Katsuhiro Otomo, an artist who forged the power to reshape an era with unwavering calm. His story is a battle for creators' dignity and profound philosophy. People admire the graceful arc carved by the red motorcycle across the ruins of Neo-Tokyo, and Tetsuo's agonizing destruction amid surging power. Few know that the visionary behind tales of civilizational cycles and sharp philosophy is in truth an introverted ordinary man with a square face, dwelling quietly in solitude for years. Now stretch your body and steady your breath to the glow of the fire. Let us return to that pivotal moment when fate shifted and a silent storm began to brew. It was 1982 in Tokyo, on the eve of an explosive economic bubble. The market was flooded with slapstick comics and shallow romance stories. The entire publishing industry expanded wildly to cater to superficial sensory thrills. On the top floor of Kodansha, inside a cramped studio lit by harsh fluorescent lamps, stood 28-year-old Katsuhiro Otomo at a worn drawing desk. Neon dyed the night sky an eerie magenta. His expression was composed, revealing no trace of emotion. That year, Akira began its quiet serialization in Weekly Young magazine, marking an irreversible turning point in his life. At that time, Japanese comics were dominated by the stylized, exaggerated lines pioneered by Osamu Tezuka. Few believed a young creator pursuing hyperrealism, cinematic panel layouts and rigorous architectural perspective in every brick of the backdrop could go far. Plagued by poor sales and bottom rankings in reader surveys, Otomo faced the constant threat of having his series axed. Cold warnings from publishers and biased remarks from peers pressed down on him like an impenetrable steel wall. He survived on cheap black coffee, struggling to finish dozens of pages of intricate architectural sketches within 48 hours. The endless work left his knuckles aching day after day. It was fate's severe trial: yield to the market, or perish in isolation. On sleepless nights staring at blank pages and wrestling with inner struggles, Otomo looked at his gaunt reflection, thin from prolonged stress, with messy hair and a reserved look, and made a decision that baffled the industry. Instead of simplifying lines or adding comic elements like other desperate cartoonists, he deepened the shadows of buildings. He replaced dialogue with sprawling scenes of crumbling architecture and smoky explosions. He knew that the power to reshape an era never lies in hysterical shouts, but in the cold, precise shattering of mediocre conventions. As serialization went on, Akira shook the global animation and comic world with its unparalleled realistic aesthetics and epic panel work. Yet fame and massive capital sparked a silent conflict over creative control against the highly commercialized film industry. In 1987, investors approached Otomo with a staggering 1 billion yen budget to adapt Akira into a theatrical animation, stunning the entire industry. For capital, huge investment meant absolute control over content. Executives kept proposing revisions, cut the profound social criticism and philosophical sections, and rewrite the ending into a mild, family-friendly happy conclusion. To businessmen, animation was merely a commodity for box office revenue, not a work that provoked deep reflection. Many gifted artists lost their edge amid such pressure, reduced to cogs in the commercial machine. Though gentle and always wearing a soft smile, Otomo possessed an unyielding pride and sharp wisdom deep inside. He avoided confrontation, relying on his mild manner and storyboards accurate to every millisecond as his unshakable stance. To preserve the purity of every frame, he insisted on an extravagant standard of over 150,000 animation drawings, using artistic excellence to fend off corporate interference. His assistants often watched his tall, solitary figure late into the night, sensing unspoken resolve. He risked his career and the whole project to defend the dignity of every frame. When the enormous glowing silver sphere expanded across countless fine lines, swallowing and remaking Neo-Tokyo in the film's finale, the vanity of the age faded away in an instant. He won absolute freedom as an artist. Entering the 21st century, Otomo's creation became like an architect's spiritual practice, while he grappled with the fear of being forgotten by time. Most of his contemporaries got lost in the digital wave. Fast food culture prevailed, as everyone chased instant sensory thrills and views. Meanwhile, his reputation as a prophet was endlessly exploited by online marketers and short video creators, who split his works into sensational labels and dug for exaggerated rumors. In his studio, where only the scratch of dip pens on paper broke the silence late at night, Otomo endured the pressure brought by such myths. Like every creator, he faced physical decline and creative exhaustion. His eyesight deteriorated over years of work, and long hours at the desk troubled his cervical spine. Yet he upheld his sober thinking for decades, driven by an uncompromising artistic pursuit. The public long misunderstood him. Witnessing the violent ruins, technological mutations, and grand doomsday scenes in his works, people assumed he was eccentric, gloomy, and unapproachable. In truth, those who knew him well were touched by his rare Eastern elegance and poise. He respected his assistants, smiled warmly and offered patient guidance when juniors made mistakes, and remained restrained and taciturn in daily life. The contrast between his calm personality and the passion for artistic purity in his heart forms a fascinating yet poignant paradox of his life. In 2020, the global pandemic forced the Tokyo Olympic Games into postponement, triggering an online frenzy worldwide. People unearthed a page from Otomo's comic drawn 38 years before, a countdown board reading, 147 days until the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, with the word, "cancelled," sprayed below by angry citizens. The eerie overlap between fiction and reality led many to deify him as a time-traveling prophet. Publishers and Hollywood producers visited him again with checks worth billions of yen, urging him to write even a short sequel that would generate enormous profits. Times have changed, they said. Readers are eager for the return of Akira. Give us your approval, and you will dominate the industry once more. In his quiet suburban studio lit by dim table lamps, 66-year-old Otomo looked over his thick reading glasses and shook his head gently. He understood the era well. What the world needed was not another sensational doomsday blockbuster, but sober reflection on social order and human alienation amid runaway technology. The silver sphere in his work was never meant to celebrate destruction. It conveys a profound philosophy: civilizations rise again from ruins, yet humanity must stay restrained and humble in the face of overwhelming power. He refused to compromise by churning out hasty digital sequels catering to online trends. As one of the last masters of traditional industrial art from the last century, this was his calm and solitary resistance. He endured marginalization and unfair remarks about his declining talent, for he knew true art never needs obedience or speed to prove its eternity. As prosperity fades and time settles over the noisy modern city, looking back on Otomo's life, we may finally unravel the riddle of prophecy and transformation raised at the beginning. What legacy has this pioneering genius, misunderstood and mythologized for 40 years, left behind? Is it the iconic red motorcycle famous for half a century, or the absolute freedom he defended against time and capital? His greatest gift to the world is the rational and composed outlook he maintained, even after seeing the harsh essence of technology and civilization. On this quiet night beside the dim fire, when we recall his tall figure and resolute gaze that spent a lifetime at the drawing desk, anxiety about the future fades into lasting peace. Through decades of perseverance and self-discipline, he confronted the inevitable oblivion and loss in life for us, teaching us to face fate with grace and fortitude. The unfinished ruins of Neo-Tokyo have long found unique endings in every reader's heart. As long as you stay clear-headed and restrained in ordinary days, you will never be defeated by time. The night is deep, and the city has fallen into silence. After hearing this story, may you relax your brows and lay down your weariness in warm bedding. Let go of worries about the future, and let them turn into gentle dreams tonight. Close your eyes, and drift into peaceful sleep as the faint light dims away. Good night.